Joni Ernst of Iowa. Last week, she was hesitant to support the former Fox News host who has been accused of sexual assault, abusing alcohol, and financial mismanagement of two nonprofits dedicated to veterans, all of which he denies. But yesterday, Senator Ernst had a different tone about Hegseth, releasing a statement praising him for his responsiveness and respect for the process and calling their conversations encouraging. Here's what she had to say about the meeting when pressed by reporters.
Does that say you're supporting him?
So I am supporting him through this process, and I'll just refer you back to the statement.
Is that a yes vote on the floor?
You can change your mind?
It was a very productive meeting, though. I think we're just moving through the process. But he does respect that I'm taking the time.
Did you talk to him about the allegations? Did you talk about the allegations as well, Senator?
Thank you, guys. I'll refer back to my statement.
Did he commit? He's just supporting the process. It doesn't sound like you're a yes yet. Is that fair?
I am supporting the process.
Did he commit to keeping women in their current roles in the military?
He is very supportive of women in the military. It is one thing that we discussed.
So he's changed his position? He's changed his position on that?
Memo to self, John. When you're being chased by reporters on the Senate side of Capitol Hill, do not take the freight elevator.
Take the stairs. Because that elevator door, you could see the aide growing panicked about why. Trying to hit the door close
but
button.
they kept getting in the...
I think the reporter had a hand in, I think. That's a pro tip. Pro tip.
Is that a pro tip?
On that side of the Capitol.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So we have to continue to talk about the drama on Capitol Hill, as it looks like the GOP senators are falling in line when it comes to Trump's cabinet picks, the process of getting them confirmed, because they, not the Democrats, are the main people standing in the way, okay? And we have an update on the process, as it looks like Pete Hegseth has survived the onslaught of smears from the liberal media trying to take him down as Trump's nominee for defense secretary, because Joni Ernst, who was one of these Republicans that was questionable about her support for Pete Hegseth in that role, has came out and basically said that she's going to support him, right? She has come out in support after a massive pressure campaign from Team Trump, okay? Team Trump essentially said, hey, if you don't support Pete Hegseth, then we're going to make your life extremely uncomfortable, right? In the sense that your constituents, the people, are going to be very upset, okay? And also, I believe Joni Ernst is up for re-election. You're going to get primary, and it's going to be funded by Elon Musk, right? So, yeah, I don't think that she would be able to survive that type of backlash, right, politically speaking. So, yeah, she decided that, you know what, she's going to get on board and support Pete Hegseth as the nominee. Now, meanwhile, most of the backlash that Trump's nominees are getting, again, is not just from Democrats, but also from establishment Republicans, led by Mitch McConnell, who was last seen trashing MAGA, trashing the America First foreign policy agenda.
Even as allies across NATO and the Indo-Pacific renew their own commitments to hard power, to interoperability, and to collective defense, some now question America's own role at the center of these force-multiplying institutions and partnerships. With the party Ronald Reagan once led so capably, it is increasingly fashionable to suggest that the sort of global leadership he modeled is no longer America's place. But let's be absolutely clear. America will not be made great again by those who are content to manage our decline.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Okay, Mitch McConnell taking a shot at the America First foreign policy agenda. Okay, the fact that we don't want to be in endless wars in Ukraine and Russia and in the Middle East. Apparently, he believes that is America not taking a leadership role on the world stage, right? I'm not entirely sure why is that these people think that the only way America can be a leader on the world stage is by promoting more war. I don't get it. Right? I really don't get it. Can we lead in something else, right? I would love to see America, I don't know, lead in technology, education, happiness, healthcare, manufacturing, space, right? There are plenty of things that America can do to lead the world, right? We don't have to lead the world when it comes to war, right? But again, that's what they think. The only way we can lead the world is by blowing stuff up, okay? So, yeah, he took a shot at MAGA, okay? And Karma decided to pay Mitch McConnell a visit because, once again, he has fallen, right? He fell after a GOP lunch. Now, this is a big deal because Mitch McConnell has a publicly documented history of falling in public and malfunctioning in public during press conferences, okay? I'm going to go ahead and play a video clip of Mitch McConnell malfunctioning before in the past, just in case you haven't seen it, but just a reminder of what we're dealing with here, okay? And then I'm going to play a news clip basically detailing what happened today with his latest fall. Take a look.
And a string of
Are you good, Mitch?
Okay, Mitch. Anything else you want to say, or should we just go back to your office? Do you want to say anything else to the press? Okay.
Bit of breaking news to bring to you right now. We've gotten word that Republican leader Mitch McConnell has taken a fall. It happened during the Senate Republican lunch today. 2 medical responders were seen briefly entering the office. Afterward, they have now left. Our Jay O'Brien is on the Hill. Jay, what more do we know?
Yeah, Kira, we know essentially what you know, which is that Mitch McConnell had that fall during the weekly Senate Republican lunch. Obviously, it was in the view of the Senate Republican Conference and his colleagues. He is currently in his office. Last we were aware, he was visited briefly by 2 medical responders who went into his office, briefly visited with McConnell, and then left. John Thune, who's the incoming Senate Majority Leader who is taking over for McConnell, has said that McConnell is fine and that he's in his office. That is the extent of what we know of McConnell's condition after that fall. But remember, Kira, this comes after McConnell had had a series of public falls over the years. And then, of course, those 2 instances in which he froze up in public before television cameras. Those occurred in the summer of 2023. It was because of concerns about his age, Kira, that McConnell decided to step down from Republican leadership, which he's now done.
And we'll never forget those 2 times on live television when he literally froze in the middle of events up there on the Hill. Well, we'll hope for the best, and we'll, of course, follow up on his condition. Jay O'Brien, thank you so much.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Apparently that guy, right, the guy that can't walk around Capitol Hill doing his job, he can't even have lunch without busting his ass every few months, apparently has an iron-tight grip over a few senators in the GOP, okay? And it seems as if one of the biggest roadblocks has kind of failed, right? Joni Ernst, as we talked about at the beginning of this video, it seems like she's going to get on board with Pete Hegseth, and she was seen meeting with Tulsi Gabbard, right? Tulsi Gabbard, who is another quote-unquote controversial pick, and the mainstream liberal media has moved on to attacking her as it looks like that's what the game is. The game is to try to knock one out. If they can't get one, then to go to another one. And again, the next one up is Tulsi.
I want to address the issue that's in the headlines right now. I stand in full support and wholeheartedly agree with the statements that President Trump has made over these last few days with regards to the developments in Syria. My own views and experiences have been shaped by my multiple deployments and seeing firsthand the cost of war and the threat of Islamist terrorism. It's one of the many reasons why I appreciate President Trump's leadership and his election, where he is fully committed, as he has said over and over, to bringing about an end to wars, demonstrating peace through strength, and putting the national security interests and the safety, security, and freedom of the American people first and foremost.
Bashar al-Assad, Syria's longtime dictator, was forced to flee his own country over the weekend, ending a half a century of rule by his family. Russia, along with Iran, have long supported Assad, backing him during his country's lengthy and brutal civil war. But Assad also had sympathizers here in the United States as well, including former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, a Democrat turned Republican who is somehow Donald Trump's choice to serve as Director of National Intelligence. Now, back in 2017, Gabbard was widely criticized for traveling to Syria and meeting with Assad personally. And she was also criticized for what she did when she returned home. As NBC News reports, Gabbard has been accused of repeatedly echoing propaganda spread by Russia and the Assad regime, including questioning U.S. intelligence assessments that the Syrian government carried out multiple chemical weapons attacks on its own people. That is part of a bombshell new report by my colleague Dan DeLuce at NBC News, where he outlines exactly why so many foreign policy experts oppose putting Gabbard in charge of our nation's secrets. DeLuce highlights an anecdote from back in 2018, when a Syrian dissident going by the name of Caesar, and you may remember the Caesar photos, spoke with the House Foreign Affairs Committee behind closed doors. Even though there were no cameras present, Caesar opted to cover his face during that meeting at the urging of committee staff of both parties. And thanks to this reporting, we now know why. As DeLuce reveals, quote, congressional aides worried about one committee member, Democratic Representative Tulsi Gabbard. The aides were concerned Gabbard might leak information about the defector who had hidden his identity out of fear of reprisals from the Assad regime. Some worried that she might even reveal his identity to someone associated with the Syrian government. So both Democratic and Republican aides told the Syrians accompanying the defector to ensure that he covered his face before Gabbard entered the room, just in case. In other words, they didn't trust Gabbard, a Democratic member of the House at the time, to keep his identity secret. Now, we should note a spokesperson for the Trump transition team calls that reporting, quote, another smear by anonymous officials with no proof. Wasn't anonymous, though. That spokesperson also says Gabbard has an active top secret security clearance, and has never breached the confidentiality rules around classified information. But all of it is a reminder of why so many national security experts in this country think Gabbard should not be trusted to safeguard our most sensitive secrets as Director of National Intelligence.
Yeah. So I want you guys to understand. Tulsi Gabbard has an active top secret security clearance that she has never broken, by the way, right? She's never given any real reason to believe that she can't be trusted with the nation's secrets. But according to Jen Psaki, because of some ridiculous report about some defector from Syria coming to Congress and needing to wear a mask because they were afraid that Tulsi might go back and tell Assad. Apparently, that's why she can't be trusted. Again, this is the type of journalism that MSNBC is currently engaging in, right? Where they take these unsubstantiated rumors, right? The he said, she said type of stuff. Again, a closed door meeting, right? Nobody really knows what happened or what went down or what was said. And they just extrapolate it into, see, you can't trust her because of something some anonymous person said behind closed doors. Even though we know that she has never given a real reason for why Tulsi Gabbard can't be trusted with the nation's top secrets. Amazing stuff. Absolutely amazing. So regardless, it doesn't look like the smears against Tulsi is going to work, just like they didn't work against Pete Hegseth, because the Republicans seem to be coming out here and rallying around Tulsi as well, just like Pete Hegseth. Take a look.
This is going really, really well. I think most of my colleagues, I think all of my colleagues, recognize that President Trump got a pretty remarkable mandate. I think we quite often talk about the unprecedented election of an incredible popular vote margin, 312 electoral votes, 7 swing states out of 7 by sizable margins. So I think our job here as a Republican conference is to get the nominees through as quickly as possible. We're seeing incredible momentum. Obviously, Tulsi's one that's going to sail right through. We feel really positive about getting her nomination across the finish line.
Former Navy SEAL commander, Republican, of course. Congressman, thanks very much for being here.
Great to be with you.
So you overlapped in the House with Tulsi Gabbard. You have also been responsible for troops in combat. You know what it means when intelligence officials are making decisions that really affect the lives of the people around you. Do you think Tulsi Gabbard is the right person for this job, or do you have concerns based on what you understand our interest in this region to be?
Well, I served with her. We've served in the House Armed Services together, and no doubt she has talent. What I like about Tulsi is she's a military background. She's certainly talented, and she understands the dynamics. She also understands President Trump. President Trump has his own set of ideas. He works, or Tulsi will work at the pleasure of the president. And so she'll tighten up where we're going as a country and in the administration. So I'm confident that she will get confirmed. There's some issues that we probably disagree on, but ultimately she'll be working for the commander-in-chief. I think she'll serve well.
So if you were commanding a SEAL team, you'd be comfortable with her as your director of national intelligence?
I would. And now remember, the director of intelligence also is a coordinating body. There's a lot of intelligence both in the field and at the headquarters. So she's going to have to sort through. And there's a prevailing thought, and I think justified in some reasons, that the intelligence agencies themselves have not been totally honest. They are driven with internal objectives and agendas sometimes that are different from the administration. So she's going to have a task on her hand going through and making sure that our intelligence agencies are true to this administration and also true to the public.
There's a report from NBC that Democrats and Republicans on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, they were worried about Gabbard coming to a hearing with a Syrian defector, right? They wanted the defector to cover his face before she got into the hearing because they were concerned that she may leak his identity to Bashar al-Assad. What's your reaction to that?
I think it's overrated on this. At the end of the day, she works for the president.
Exactly. At the end of the day, all of this is just he said, she said, gossip. Oh, Democrats and Republicans were scared that Tulsi was going to snitch on a Syrian defector, right? It's like, well, I mean, can anybody really substantiate that, right? I don't know. Okay, but this is the type of stuff they put out here. However, again, it looks like the GOP senators are falling in line as they should because she will be working for the president. That's it, right? I mean, that's all that needs to be said. I find it hilarious how the media is criticizing Trump's cabinet picks in ways they never would for Biden's. And guess what? Biden's cabinet ended up being one of the worst in American history. Look at the results. Look at the results. So, hey, I think that this right here is turning out to be a W for Trump. He cannot let another one of his nominations go down because then that would essentially weaken him as president, right? It would weaken him as the leader of the Republican Party, and that would be a devastating blow to Trump being able to accomplish the agenda that the American people voted for, right? In order for us to get what we voted for, Trump has to be able to get his nominees in place, right? They have to be able to get in positions of power where we can actually execute on the plan, right? And, they're trying to stand in the way. People like Mitch McConnell, the liberal media, the Democrats, but it doesn't look like it's going to work. Don't be surprised if they move on to RFK next, right? They're going to start boohoo-whining and crying about RFK, okay? But I don't think that's going to work either. I think Trump is going to fight tooth and nail for RFK and Tulsi the same way they've been fighting for Pete Hegseth. They held out because, Pete Hegseth, he couldn't fall, right? He could not fall. He had to remain in, especially after Matt Gaetz, decided to step down. If Pete Hegseth had stepped down, then they would smell blood in the water and it would be open season on the rest of Trump's cabinet picks, which again would defeat the whole purpose of having him be elected as president in the first place. So I'm glad that the GOP senators are falling in line, again, as they should. And it's looking good, right? It's looking good for Trump's cabinet picks and them being confirmed. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.